Madre mía, qué listos son los sportmaniáticos. En el vídeo anterior de Sergio Pérez, que puedes ver directamente en el canal de Alberto de Sportmaniáticos, sale un bombazo. Sergio Pérez dice que se queda. Como los sportmaniáticos sabíamos que teníamos que esperar. Pero bueno, no me refiero a eso, me refiero a este momento. Franco Colapinto. Y el momento exacto en que Verstappen se ríe. Todos los sportmaniáticos os habéis dado cuenta en los comentarios del anterior vídeo. El vídeo del canal de Sportmaniáticos, el último, donde hablamos, eso sí, los sportmaniáticos lo hemos identificado rapidísimo, el lenguaje no verbal de Franco Colapinto. ¿Y ahora qué, haters? Pues bien, vamos con ese vídeo y también con algo que me habéis pedido que analicemos con ansias. Y es este vídeo de Williams, aquí lo veis, la historia de Franco Colapinto, que algunos intencionadamente han querido malinterpretar y decir que era la prueba para que Franco Colapinto se quedara en Williams como tercer piloto. Yo no sé si se va a quedar como tercer piloto, no sé si, como parece, hay más opciones de las que mucha gente se cree y nosotros no nos hemos bajado del barco. Yo no te digo qué es lo que va a pasar, pero lo que sí que te puedo decir es que esto no es ninguna confirmación en absoluto de que Franco Colapinto no tenga sitio en Fórmula 1 2025. Eso es un bulo, es una desinformación y por eso os traigo también este vídeo, para que lo disfrutéis. ¿Por qué? Porque fijaros que además también hay una clave en este vídeo y eso nadie se ha dado cuenta. Y es la tremenda indirecta que le ha metido Williams al equipo Red Bull con Lawson. Familia, nos vamos con el vídeo de Colapinto, últimas horas antes de que comience el Gran Premio de Abu Dhabi de Fórmula 1. Bienvenidos por Maniáticos, sección de Fórmula 1 de YouTube. Quédate, disfruta y pega un mega like así de grande por la indirecta que le ha pegado en este vídeo Williams, y ahora lo vais a ver, a Liam Lawson. Fijaros qué tremendo, cómo se puede ver, y os lo voy a enseñar ya antes de que veáis el vídeo, luego a ver si me ponéis en el minuto en que sale en el vídeo, porque es una indirecta muy buena, no se ve así, no cualquiera puede verlo directamente, porque es una indirecta que sale flash, un segundo. Y eso es lo que nadie ha querido darse cuenta. Fijaros aquí, podéis ver la imagen, que esta es la imagen que sale. Colapinto con el número 1, Lawson con el número 2. Esto es un flash, un fogonazo del vídeo. Hay que ser observador y hay que saber encontrar las pistas adecuadas. Como os digo, el vídeo bombazo, esto lo vamos a ver ahora. El vídeo bombazo, que esto sí que yo no me he dado cuenta, pero por eso Sportmaniáticos es lo mejor que hay en YouTube en cuanto a información, porque si Alberto no se da cuenta con toda la gente que le informa, tranquilo que en 10 segundos te meten en los comentarios lo que ha pasado. ¿Y qué es lo que ha pasado? Pues bombazo. El bombazo es el siguiente. Fijaros, es Max Verstappen cuando le preguntan sobre el futuro de Colapinto. Todo esto lo tienes, como te digo, insisto, en el vídeo anterior de Sportmaniáticos. Pero mira.
Se rumorea mucho sobre tu futuro. ¿Te alejas de todos los rumores?
¿Habéis visto ese gesto que ha hecho Max Verstappen? Pues muchos lo están interpretando como que es una prueba más, una más de todas las que hemos tenido y que estamos teniendo, de que obviamente, ya lo ha dicho Franco Colapinto, que su futuro no está decidido aún. Y Colapinto al menos se le veía bastante confiado. Pues fijaros en cámara ampliada cómo ha sido este movimiento de Max Verstappen. Un segundo, que no reviente los tímpanos.
The future hold for you?
How do I know that? It's impossible. It's very hard to know. Still one race to go with Williams.
For you.
How do I know that? It's impossible. It's very hard to know.
Lo habéis visto, ¿no? Ampliado aún se ve mejor. ¿Sabe cosas Verstappen? ¿Sabe cosas Colapinto, que estaba muy sonriendo? Lo vuelvo a poner antes de irnos con el vídeo de Williams.
What does the future hold for you?
How do I know that? It's impossible. It's very hard to know. Still one race to go with Williams.
For you.
How do I know that? It's impossible. It's very hard to know.
What does
Para que veáis cómo esa risa delatadora se le ha escapado un microsegundo, pero en un microsegundo Alberto no lo ve, pero los sportmaniáticos lo dejáis en los comentarios. Muchas gracias a todos por ser parte de este bonito movimiento en el bar de la esquina, aquí defendiendo a los pilotos hispanohablantes. Insisto, míratelo el vídeo de Checo Pérez, porque ahí hay claves, ya lo dijimos nosotros, el que elige es este, no Horner, ni tampoco Helmut Marko. Y ahora viene Checo y te dice que se queda. Pues bien, esto es algo de lo que tenía que enseñaros. Es un bombazo. Es lo de Verstappen. Dejadme en los comentarios qué es lo que pensáis. Aunque ya lo sé, porque sois vosotros, los sportmaniáticos, los que me habéis dicho que lo mirara, ¿no? También me habéis dicho que mirara esto de Williams. Es un vídeo que pone la historia de Colapinto, donde te van a enseñar imágenes, porque te lo voy a poner del tirón, no lo vamos a ir comentando, porque si no se te hará largo. Ponen imágenes de todo cómo fue la entrada de Colapinto. Ponen imágenes muy emotivas, muy bonitas de Franco Colapinto, donde en ningún momento se anuncia que Colapinto se queda. Hoy ha quedado demostrado que todo eso era mentira. Eso y muchas más cosas son mentiras y por eso la gente me dice que directamente está eliminando esas fuentes porque no quieren ver información que sea desinformación, ¿no? Obviamente todo focalizado por el interés. ¿Por qué? Pues vete a saber. Pero el hecho de que Colapinto sea tercer piloto el próximo año, lo único que indica es que Colapinto no va a tener sitio en la Fórmula 1. Hay gente que dice que defiende a Colapinto y que de defenderlos, nada. Pero bueno, eso es otra cosa. Yo os lo he dicho, tener en cuenta fuentes buenas como Motorsport. Hay canales de YouTube que son muy buenos y hay otros que te mienten simplemente pues porque van sobre sus intereses, ¿no? Tened cuidado con eso porque en ningún momento, ya lo podéis ver aquí, Williams está anunciando nada. Lo que sí que hay en este vídeo y mucha gente no se ha dado cuenta es lo que os estoy enseñando de directamente esta foto. Esta foto aparece en el vídeo y quiero que me digáis en el momento exacto en el vídeo de Sportmaniáticos en el que va a aparecer. Es esta foto. Colapinto, primera posición, Lawson, segunda posición. Es una indirecta tremenda del equipo Williams, ¿vale? A Red Bull. También en esta indirecta se lo dijo James Wolf, que se decidan ya en Red Bull, etc. Pues bien, nos vamos con el vídeo para que veáis. Dejadme en el minuto a ver si sabéis verlo, dónde está el momento y disfrutarlo porque es un vídeo bonito, es un vídeo muy emotivo. No es un vídeo para soltar un pufo y una mentira y decir que esto certifica que Williams se queda con Colapinto. Eso no es verdad, pero eso no quita que sea un vídeo precioso de la historia de Colapinto con Williams. Eso sí que es verdad, es un vídeo de la historia de Colapinto con Williams y es un vídeo donde también hay algo sobre el futuro de Colapinto, una indirecta bonita. Y es la indirecta que os he enseñado donde sale la foto de Lawson segundo y Colapinto en primera posición. Familia, disfrutarlo y quiero que me dejéis en los comentarios en qué momento del vídeo se ve eso exactamente. ¿Y qué pensáis después de lo que os he dicho? Muchos me habéis dicho, oye, quería saber tu opinión, ahora quiero saber la tuya. ¿Realmente piensas que esto simplemente es un vídeo sin más de la historia de Colapinto, muy emotivo? ¿Es un vídeo donde ponen una indirecta a Lawson? ¿O eres de los que piensa que esto certifica, ¿vale? Porque ya vais a ver que aquí en ningún momento se certifica nada. Disfrutar del vídeo, es muy bonito, es muy emotivo. Vamos Franco Colapinto, vamos Checo Pérez, cada vez más cerca de quedarnos en Fórmula 1. Checo Pérez, lo de Checo Pérez, mirad el vídeo del canal de Alberto de Sportmaniáticos Secundarios porque es tremendo. Familia, ahora sí, me aparto, os dejo disfrutar del vídeo de la historia de Colapinto en el que en ningún momento se está diciendo que se quede, todo es un bulo, desinformaciones, ya me están diciendo que están bloqueando esas fuentes y no me extraña, porque es que es una vergüenza coger esto y sin saber en inglés decir que esto certifica lo que es mentira. No certifica nada, la gente quiere ver a Colapinto fuera de la Fórmula 1 2025, mucha gente, más de lo que la gente piensa, hay intereses aquí encubiertos y se ve, porque hay ventolera y se ve quién lleva falda y lleva tanguilla con lo que pone las gallinas así por el lado colgando. No sé si me estoy explicando, pero bueno, os dejo disfrutar del vídeo, familia. Franco Colapinto, obviamente, aún tenemos opciones y este vídeo simplemente es una muestra de amor porque Colapinto se lo merece, la historia de Colapinto con Williams. Disfrutarla. Dejarme el minuto del vídeo en el que se ve esa foto, que eso sí que es la clave de este vídeo, de verdad, que es que siempre tenemos que salir los sportmaniáticos a decirlo todo. Disfrutarlo.
And just say I'm a Formula 1 driver for Williams Racing.
I'm Franco Colapinto and a Formula One racing driver for Williams Racing. I grew up in Argentina, Buenos Aires. I'm from there, of course, always with the support of my family. And yeah, since very little, I always loved motorsport. I always liked racing, and I always followed since I was very young. So that's where it started. They always, told me you can do whatever you decide to do, and I made most of my decisions since I was quite young, and they always push me to do and to achieve what I wanted to. So it's been very nice, and they have been really, really supportive since the start and until now. They always have been with me. My dream is Formula One, and it's the highest you can arrive in motorsport. So if you want to be a racing driver, you want to arrive to Formula One, it goes one with each other. And yeah, that was my dream since I was very little. I was waking up early on Sundays to watch races. So Senna and Fangio, both of them were the ones I started in motorsport with. Both, of course, South American, and both that had a tough path to arrive to where they were, to Formula One. So I just see a bit of similarities, with how they arrived and how I did. So it's how I think I started into Formula One was with them. I was around 9 years old. I was always with some racing drivers because my dad used to sponsor them, and one of them just took me go-karting, and that's how I started. I was always loving it, and I was dreaming of jumping into a go-kart one day. I was always asking for it, so it was nice. It's something I always enjoy doing. I didn't think too much about my talent. I just always enjoyed doing that. I ride far in Argentina. I won championships there, and then I really wanted to race in Europe because it's much more professional, and the level is higher, and the way to ride Formula One is going to Europe when you're young. So that was what I put the focus on.
The best 3 words for becoming a Formula One driver are probably different for every driver, but I would say performant, work hard, and being accountable. Sven Smits, sporting director at Williams Racing. If you look to from a young age, the karting calendar is actually very matchable to a F1 calendar. January, February, March, April are completely fully busy. There is no time for school, which means school has to be caught up in May, June, July. So time is one. I would also say your life as a child you lose because you're at the racetrack, you're not with your friends that you maybe had at school. So there is a big sacrifice in time, family life. You're actually dedicated to driving racetrack, to motorsports, and it's very hard, and you can also see that, so it's very important that we balance that in those young ages.
Yeah, it's tough, and when you're young and you leave your house, your friends and everything, when you're only 14 it is very difficult, but it's part of being a racing driver, being an athlete. You sacrifice many things, and I did so it's part of it. I did grow up very quick. When you leave home and you go to live alone to a different country, a language you don't speak, when you are 14, it is very tough, and you just grow up a bit quicker than the others. So I just, didn't spend those years, maybe from 14 to 18 or 20 maybe, and I just jumped all those years straight away, so it was difficult at times.
A lot of parents are, of course, a lot involved in karting, which is normal because they are bringing you to every race. Most of the time they travel with you, but at a certain point when you're in cars, the parents need to become parents and be the supporting part and leave, let's say, the driving and learning how you take a corner, understeer, all this to engineers, driver coaches, and the people that know what they're talking about. And that's sometimes a very difficult process because they've been so involved in this racing in the beginning to just become a parent again.
I think letting your kid go at such a young age to a country that he has no language that you don't speak, it's a lot of trust, and to have that support from your family to say you can, go live, don't focus on school and don't focus on that. You do what you feel and what you dream of doing in the future, and they have been very supportive with that. I don't think any other family or very little families would do that.
You sacrifice an enormous time of family time, and sometimes it splits families into two, where a part of the family stays behind and the other part is always on the road, and that's probably one of the hardest things, and also maybe sometimes why it doesn't work and maybe somebody stops, although he was a good driver.
So I went to Italy, and that's how everything started there, and then I stay in Europe. I didn't really want to come back to race in Argentina anymore. I wanted to stay there and try to get to Formula 1.
With motorsports, I mean, even if you do karting at a very young age, a kart is expensive. You need tires, fuel, you need a mechanic, you need to travel.
Motorsport is very budget driven, and I had no money. Sometimes you can race where you want, sometimes you cannot. And I was just racing where I could.
So there is definitely money needed to even start the whole process. And not everybody is born with the same wealth, so then it's up to you to find some sponsors, some friends that maybe want to help you, and some succeed very well in that, although let's say they were not from a wealthy background. Others, of course, struggle with that, and I'm quite sure how unfortunate it is that there is talent in the world that we never saw, maybe because of this factor.
It's big steps from one championship to the other. I had a very good team behind me that were, looking for sponsors and doing a great job. But yeah, many times it's very expensive that way to Formula 1, and it's getting more and more expensive, so it's always difficult. I think never giving up is the main thing. You're alone. You don't have that support from people around you that you love, and it's difficult. But it's part of sport and part of being an athlete, and you have to live with it. Of course, that many times you think you're not gonna make it to Formula 1, but the day after you wake up again and you keep pushing.
I'm James Rouse, and I'm the team principal for Williams Racing. Drivers start their professional career really from almost the age of 6, definitely from the age of 8. So whilst all of us are going through school with a different social environment, they're not. They're isolated and separated. You're in a fierce competition against others, and it's dog eat dog. You have to win to move forward. It's a very different way of building your life, and your family almost moves around with you. You'll sacrifice near enough everything for doing so. But that's what it takes in the pursuit of success. It's what it takes. You have to sacrifice everything for potentially no chance of success, which equals racing in Formula 1.
Can you pinpoint the moment where you felt like you could seriously make it to F1?
I think when I joined Williams was one of the moments. When I started racing Formula 3 was another one maybe. And you go back into that path to Formula 1.
First got sight of Franco, I think, was end of 22 on a tip of a Support Series race team owner. He said, Sven, you need to have a look at him. I've always wanted him in my team, unfortunately, and was never able to. So I did, and I got intrigued by the career Franco had, because he's not the traditional one. He had a few years of other motorsport series in his single-seater career, and just reached out to his management, started talking, and months later, we were convinced that we should take him on.
It happened around the time that I joined the team. That's when he was signed in as part of Williams, and I got an opportunity to meet him very, very early on. And immediately what came across is the Franco you see today, just very calm, speaks from the heart on the sleeve as well at the same time. What was needed at that point is clearly performance in the car.
He looked different. He was one of those that haven't had much chance to drive, so not much testing, always just during the championship, not always with, let's say, the teams that win 5 times out of 6, but having very good results. There was definitely highlights in his career with not much driving, so there was definitely raw talent and pace. So when we took Franco in, he did a year in F3 with MP, and he was fighting for vice champion until the last race.
He had such an exceptional race in Monza, drove exceptionally well in tricky conditions, and came in to see us afterwards. And I spent some time with him, and he was describing exactly what was going on in the car down to the minutiae detail. That tells me 2 things. One, The emotion of winning is definitely there, but his capacity to understand what's going on under the most immense pressure is enormous. And the second, and it's the Franco that I love, he tells you everything in immense detail. He wants to share with you the experiences he's had. They're not his experiences, they're our experiences. That was a moment that will always stand out to me. He was stood there with his trophy, covered in champagne, just going through minutiae detail of breaking into turn one.
You know, Williams was the first team that got me in that way to Formula One. Was the first Formula One team I started to work with, and it was a dream come true. Of course, you feel a bit closer to Formula One, so that was a very good step forward already. And then moving into Formula 2 as well, big step in the car, but they have been always very helpful in the team in Williams to try to help me adapt quickly to the different categories I've been racing.
Your progression has been getting better and better race on race, which is what we're looking for, I think. I'd like to offer you the opportunity to take FP1 in Silverstone. Congratulations, or anything else? That's it. You're welcome. He has a tremendous amount of belief in himself, and you need that. You need that above all else, but it doesn't falter. That characteristic came none more so to the front when he was in the car in Silverstone in FP1 for the first time. A situation that was reward for how he'd been growing, both in our simulator work that we're doing and also in F2. But he took the opportunity with both arms open to it. He didn't leave anything on the table and performed incredibly well. When I spoke to him after, he said, I just enjoyed it. You never know if you're going to have this chance again. And he did. But in doing so, he released an amount of performance that was at the right level.
It was great. First FP1 of my lifetime. It's an amazing moment for myself. I have enjoyed every lap of it, every corner of it. I'm just delighted for the opportunity that Williams gave me.
He surprised us in Silverstone with the lack of preparation again. He did actually very well. He used that opportunity to perform very well. And we just went to the drivers and very quickly, I mean, it didn't take very long.
With Sven, what he provides is a good view of how he's been as a change over the last few years, how he's been in training, how he is in his mindset, how he is in the simulator, what's different to where he was 1 year ago, what's the progress, and what's his capability going forward.
We have somebody here that we want to be in F1 maybe in 1 or 2 years after another F2 season, but he showed us raw signs of raw pace in Silverstone. So we're going to give him the chance to do the last 9 races.
The first Franco really knew about it was when we called him to let him know, and then actually he was in the building getting prepared for it, still didn't know it was going to be confirmed, and he came upstairs and then I shook his hand.
I was here in Williams. It was a tough week. I was preparing the Formula 2 race the day before, then I flew here to Williams. I was in the simulator that day, and then they just called me upstairs and they told me. So yeah, I was really happy. It was a very special moment.
So a little bit of background that's not widely known. I was quite ill on the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And for all those that saw me coming into work, you sort of knew I wasn't quite 100%. So it's not the ideal conditions for making this sort of decision and change. And I asked him to stay away from me because what I certainly didn't want to be responsible for is giving him the opportunity for a lifetime, then taking it away through illness. Anyway, I couldn't stop him from hugging me at the time. He knew the risks involved, and he had to do an emotional outlet because for him, the trust that we placed in him, the belief that we placed in him meant everything to him.
Sven and James, they have, been amazing, and they have put so much trust and confidence in putting me into a race. It's never easy, to change drivers in the middle of the season, and the trust and the confidence that they put in giving me that seat and giving me this amazing opportunity, something I will be grateful and thankful for forever.
He always said that he was, the day that they gave him the chance, he was going to be ready. So that also depicts him that he has a lot of confidence in himself, but it's something I think you need to have, because otherwise you probably would have not taken that moment as the time to shine for yourself. But then he also admitted that it was quite overwhelming once it was actually confirmed by a few people that he was going to be in the seat, because you tell him, yeah, okay, fine. And then I think there is the after reaction where you say, I'm actually going to do it, am I? You need that you need the people to confirm.
I didn't call anyone. I went back to the sim. I had work to do, so I think they realized through the media that it was announced.
And it actually got to the point where he was so engrossed with simulator work that he didn't tell anyone. So the news story was coming out in an hour. He did not tell his parents. they found out via the internet.
After I called them, but it was a bit later.
We'll be very shortly announcing that Logan will be stepping down. He will not be racing the rest of the remainder of the year. And Franco Colapinto, who is our academy driver, he was here in FP1 in Silverstone, will be replacing him. I firmly believe, and this is not just within all of you here, but within our academy investing in the next generation. I really look forward to seeing what he can do with us in the car in Formula One. I think with Franco, the unexpected bit for me is how natural he was immediately in that environment. That includes Silverstone FP1, but to a certain extent you can forgive him for that because it might be a one-off chance to do something exceptional. But that continued. You put him in the car in Monza, I couldn't have told you if he was in the car for 5 minutes or 5 months. He just felt at home.
You are quite tense in your first Formula One race, to be honest, and until the lights don't go out, you are nervous, and you know it's your first clutch drop in a race. It is very difficult the start procedure, and many things. You know, you feel adrenaline, and of course your first Formula One race, it is very special, but also you have that extra bit of pressure. So it was very nice, and I did enjoy a lot that weekend. It is something very special that I will never forget.
He surprised us in Monza, but I think the last 2 races, Baku and Singapore, have been absolutely outstanding and have actually baffled me because it's something I didn't expect.
I have been so proud of Argentina because when they have an elite athlete that they can get behind, boy, do they get behind him. Just hundreds and thousands of fans supporting Franco. That's incredible to me. And it shows you what he means to the country and what the country means to him at the same time.
It's always nice to have the support of your country, and I did have the support of many people around me. That was always very nice, but also to have the support from a whole country and from where you were born, it is very nice. I don't see many F1 drivers that have as much support and you know, as much intensity from their fans. It's just very nice, you know, to see that so many people get happy when I have a good result and they are enjoying the moment as well as I am doing. It's something very special to have the support of Argentina. It's something I enjoy and I'm very happy to see, so it's not any pressure, but just I think a bit of an extra boost.
The passion that Argentina shows drives us on as well at the same time. It just shows you that when you do something that's right for the world, that's right for an individual, and you have a country behind it, the reward is extraordinary. Direction of the car forward. He's confident in what he is and what his abilities are, but doesn't yet have the experience base that comes with knowing how to make sure we drive future generations of car in the right direction. I'm looking for all of that from him in a short space of time. His future's bright though. It's in his hands. That's the unique position that he's in. Every time he performs, he creates a world stage for himself that makes his future possible. He's a professional racing driver that I think has demonstrated to the world in a short space of time that he's worthy of a position in Formula One. And the result of that is we also have a responsibility to make sure that that happens. Now, the last 12 months, I don't think there's a single person out there that would have predicted what's happening in the driver market. So watch the next 12 and let's see. But someone with his capability has every opportunity.
We will keep working together and we still have to do many steps forward, but it is a great start and it's a bit of what we were looking for, to build a good relationship together, to build a team all back together, and you can see the energy, the attitude in the boys in the garage, everyone in the team is super happy, you know, to have been scoring points, to have good performances with both cars, and now we are looking strong as a team. So it is great. The chance that they gave me, it's something really, really, really special, and you know, they did a big bet, and I am just very grateful that they did it to me, and it's going well together.